Hey guys, Mr. Jalapeno here with another episode of Jalapeno Drywall. On today's project, we're going to be addressing this drywall crack right by the front door. And so what the homeowner told me was that he had some structural guys come to the house and check this crack. He said they checked everywhere, they checked the foundation, they just told him it was settling issues and to just patch it up, and that's when they called Mr. Jalapeno. Okay, so first thing you want to do is make sure there's backing behind the drywall crack. My stud finder was saying there was backing all around that area. I didn't believe it, so I cut a little 4x4 inch square there. And as you saw, there was enough backing back there. The reason for the backing is so that I could put these screws and tighten everything up. Just make sure not to put your drywall screws in too deep, about 1/16 of an inch. You don't want to cut the drywall paper off because it's not going to hold it very good. But after you put your screws and everything's nice and tight, get your utility blade and cut a little valley where the crack is. I've been told that if you do a little valley on the crack, it's going to help get a lot of that joint compound inside the crack and therefore, make it a little bit stronger. I'm going to mix a little bit of the hot mud here, the Easy Sand 5. I get a lot of people asking me why the hot mud, and the reason is because it sets quicker, so I could do multiple coats in a short amount of time compared to like the regular joint compound, which takes like an overnight dry. But if you're new to using hot mud, I recommend going with the Easy Sand 45 or the 90. It takes those amount of minutes for it to set. But anyways, as you saw earlier there, you do not want to forget the mesh tape. The mesh tape is just going to help reinforce that patch. I then go ahead and apply the hot mud. My main goal here is to hide the mesh tape and make sure there's no bumps. That's kind of why I went big with the 12-inch. I don't want it to be bumpy. Also, don't forget to wipe the edge with the wet rag. That way the patch is going to blend much better. But if you do not have texture, you're done at that step. Just let it dry, sand it down, prime it, and paint it, and you should be good. Here in Colorado, though, everything's got texture. I'm using the Easy Pro system here to do the knockdown texture. As you can see, I plasticed off everything pretty good. I don't want that stuff getting everywhere. And trust me, it does. And after you're done shooting the texture, wait about 5 to 10 minutes to knock it down. It depends on the humidity of the day, right? So here in Colorado, it's fairly dry. So I wait 5 to 10 minutes, like I said. I think in places like Florida or very humid places, you might have to wait a little bit longer. Maybe 15, 20 minutes. Because here in Colorado, when it's a humid day, it does take about 15 minutes sometimes. But usually it's fairly dry. But anyways, once it's knocked down, cleanup time. And thanks to the magic of video editing, it is now the next day. It is dry and ready for paint. A lot of the times the clients want me to come back and paint the drywall patches I did. And sometimes they want to paint it themselves. I usually just say, hey, wipe the overspray with a wet rag and then kind of use your putty knife or your drywall knife to scrape off any high points. This is just going to help the patch blend in much better with the existing texture. And I don't know if you noticed earlier, but they never caulked the top of the casing there in the front door. So I'll just caulk it with the Alex Fast Dry. This stuff is ready to paint in 20 minutes. Prime it, paint it, and there we go. Nice and smooth. Jalapeno Solutions. Boom.